son of Sam. In 1971, a man named David Berkowitz terrorized New York City as the notorious Son of Sam killer. Over the course of a year, Berkowitz shot and killed 6 people and wounded 7 others, all seemingly chosen at random. But what few people knew at the time was that Berkowitz claimed he wasn't acting alone. He claimed that he was part of a satanic cult that had been instructing him to commit the murders. Years later, a journalist named Maury Terry became obsessed with Berkowitz's claims and began to investigate the possibility of a wider conspiracy. What he uncovered was shocking. Terry discovered that Berkowitz had indeed been involved with a cult, one that was rumored to have ties to high-ranking officials in government and law enforcement. The cult, known as the Children, was said to engage in dark rituals and human sacrifice. Terry's investigation took him to some of the darkest corners of New York City, where he met with former cult members and witnesses to its activities. He uncovered evidence of a cover-up by the authorities, who were desperate to keep the truth from coming out. But the more Terry dug, the more he found himself in danger. He received threatening letters and phone calls warning him to stop his investigation, and he was even followed by strange men in black suits. One night, Terry was working late in his office when he heard a knock at the door. When he answered, he was met by a tall man in a black suit and sunglasses. The man didn't say a word, but Terry could feel his malevolent presence. Suddenly, Terry realized that the man's face was not human at all, but that of a demon. He tried to flee, but the demon pursued him through the darkened halls of his building, its laughter echoing through the empty corridors. In the end, Maury Terry was found dead in his office, his body twisted and contorted in a grotesque parody of life. The police ruled his death a suicide, but those who knew the truth believed he had been silenced by the same forces that had orchestrated the Son of Sam murders. To this day, the true extent of the Son of Sam conspiracy remains a mystery, and those who seek to uncover the truth do so at their own peril. The San Pedro haunting is one of the most famous ghost stories in American history. It all began in 1984 when a family moved into a beautiful Victorian home in the quiet suburb of San Pedro, California. Almost immediately, they began experiencing strange and terrifying phenomena. At first, the family dismissed the strange occurrences as coincidences, but things quickly escalated. They began hearing unexplainable noises, such as footsteps and doors opening and closing on their own. The family members also reported seeing objects move inexplicably, such as chairs sliding across the floor or utensils levitating off the kitchen counter. The family reached out to their local church for help, but they were told that the church was not equipped to handle such matters. They then decided to contact a team of paranormal investigators, who agreed to investigate the house. The investigators arrived with their equipment and set up cameras and audio recorders throughout the house. During their investigation, they documented a series of eerie occurrences, including doors slamming shut, unexplained voices and noises, and even the sight of a ghostly apparition. As they continued to investigate, the team discovered that the house was haunted by the ghost of a man who had killed his family in the 1940s. The entity was malevolent and appeared to be trying to harm the current residents of the home. The haunting of the San Pedro house became a sensation, and the story was eventually turned into a best-selling book and a hit movie. The house remains a popular destination for paranormal enthusiasts and ghost hunters, and many people claim to have had their own encounters with the supernatural there. The story of the San Pedro haunting is a chilling reminder of the power of the paranormal and the enduring fascination that it holds for many people. Once upon a time, in a small town nestled deep within the woods, there stood an old abandoned house. Locals whispered about its dark past and the horrors that unfolded within its walls. The house was said to be haunted, its halls echoing with the anguished cries of lost souls. Legend had it that a family once lived in that house. The father, Jonathan, was a troubled man with a violent temper. His wife, Margaret, and their 2 children, Emily and Thomas, bore the brunt of his rage. The town knew of their suffering but turned a blind eye, too afraid to intervene. One stormy night, when the wind howled like a tortured spirit, a neighbor heard a blood-curdling scream emanating from the house. Fearful for their safety, they called the authorities. As the police arrived, they discovered a gruesome scene. Jonathan had succumbed to madness and slaughtered his family with a ferocity that defied reason. Margaret lay lifeless in the master bedroom, her eyes frozen in a permanent expression of terror. Emily and Thomas, mere children, had been suffocated in their sleep. The townspeople wept for the loss of innocent lives and vowed never to forget the tragedy that occurred within those cursed walls. The house was left abandoned, a macabre reminder of the horrors that unfolded within. Years passed, and the house became a macabre tourist attraction. Thrill seekers and paranormal enthusiasts flocked to the eerie structure, hoping to catch a glimpse of the restless spirits said to haunt it. Many claimed to have witnessed apparitions and heard disembodied whispers in the dead of night. One autumn evening, a group of friends dared each other to spend the night in the haunted house. Their curiosity outweighed their trepidation, and armed with cameras and flashlights, they ventured into the darkness. As midnight approached, the house seemed to come alive. Doors creaked open on their own, and whispers filled the air. The friends huddled together, their hearts pounding in their chests. A sense of foreboding washed over them, and they realized they had bitten off more than they could chew. Suddenly, a chilling scream pierced the silence, freezing them in their tracks. The air turned icy, and the room filled with an otherworldly presence. Shadows danced along the walls, twisting and contorting like sinister specters. In a panic, the friends tried to flee, but the door slammed shut, trapping them inside. Their screams for help went unheard as the malevolent forces grew stronger. One by one, they fell victim to unseen hands, dragged into the depths of darkness. The following morning, a passerby discovered the lifeless bodies of the friends, their faces etched in terror. News of their tragic fate spread like wildfire, cementing the house's reputation as a place of true horror. To this day, the abandoned house stands as a reminder of the unspeakable acts that took place within its walls. Its chilling presence serves as a warning to those who dare to tempt fate, for the spirits of the past still linger, ready to claim their next victims.